Welcome to Women's Brew, where women talk about beer. In today's episode, we're entering a world of pure imagination as we visit the chocolate factory for beer and chocolate pairing. I'm Joanne, and this is Tori.
Hello, hello.
And we're two beer-loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer. Come join us. I enjoyed the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory reference there.
I literally wrote that 5 seconds. I literally wrote that as I was joining the Zoom. Or the Riverside. I typed it in as I went, shit, I'm very late. I'm over an hour late. And I didn't. I've gone nothing but back to back from work. And I went, I didn't do an intro, which you didn't notice that I had wrote that as I was logging in because you opened up an old one.
Yeah.
So you didn't. So as far as you're concerned, I wrote that so long ago. I'm so prepared and I'm just very clever. I am very clever, clearly, because I just made that up on the 30-second spot.
Yeah, I do want to say as well, like, I have vivid memories of Charlie, like the original Gene Wilder, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, being on as a child, and the bit where where Charlie and his granddad get like nearly die. It's like I was watching it and it traumatized me. I have a vivid memory of it being on the television on downstairs, and my mum was upstairs, and me running upstairs and being like, what is this thing that's on the television? Like, what is happening? I don't like it. And yeah, so it was a while before I watched the whole of that one.
Really? I feel like I don't think I ever really realised just how like fucked up Charlie and the Chocolate Factory actually is when you think about it.
It's bad, man.
And it's like, the potential to be very traumatizing. Yeah. And I think I just watched it and I was like, yeah, cool. Oh, that's like, I would really hate to be turned into a blueberry. That would be awful. I think it's like that type. I'm like, oh, that greedy kid shouldn't have eaten all the chocolate. They told him not to. He did it. He shouldn't have done that. That's on him.
But I still do have, well, as a child, a very vivid imagination and just all the dreams. Like I didn't sleep the whole night through until I was 7, and I would literally just get up in the middle of the night and go to my mum and tell her about my dreams, and she'd be like, okay, go back to bed, and I'd just go back to bed. But would always have I like saw an advert as a small child for Nightmare on Elm Street and had nightmares for like 2 weeks. So everything that I watched got vetted for when I was little because it could keep everyone in the house up.
See, I think just having siblings that were like as like with that age gap that I have between
I'm the oldest.
I was watching Rocky Horror Picture Show at like 5 years old, so like I feel like that, you know, I just kind of am like meh, like I that and I think you know, it should say, oh, I was an emo kid, so I'm an elder emo, so I think I just am like, yeah, it's cool. I guess is what we're doing. Although I did find it really annoying that they just decided we won tickets to a chocolate factory, yay, and then they get out of bed for the first time in like forever, and I'm like, all right. I think that's not lost on anybody. Like that is the one thing that when people talk about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I think as a child I did realize that was a bit weird, but I kind of let it go.
I mean, to be fair, that was Roald Dahl all over. Like all of his stuff was weird. I always enjoyed a Roald Dahl book. I don't know if I've ever seen a film that really does the Roald Dahl book justice. Oh, do you know what was actually quite a good one? Was Danny the Champion of the World.
Didn't see that one.
That one was really good.
Oh, I mean, this feels very apt because like it's chocolate and like books.
Chocolate.
This is a really good. I feel like this is a really good segue because it's chocolate and books.
Because we've said we're doing about beer and chocolate, but actually we're doing it because I have read and have shared with Tori some very interesting pairings of Pairing Beer and Chocolate by David Nilsen. Now, David very kindly sent me this book. Thank you, David.
She's an influencer.
He also has his own podcast, Been to Barstool, which is about craft craft beer and craft chocolate, like artisan chocolate and things.
I love that.
And he had a zine doing beer and chocolate pairing, and then it has been turned into a book. It is a fantastic book. We've done a little bit of like beer and chocolate pairing on the podcast before. Like we paired the actual chocolate bar with the chocolate bar beer that Vocation did. Yeah, the celebrations ones that Vocation did one Christmas. We did
Halloween candies,
beer and Halloween candy, and there was some chocolate in there. So we've done it a little bit. I've got some bits about beer and chocolate pairing on my website, and I've got a beer and chocolate pairing pack on my Etsy shop if you want the simple stuff. But what I love about this book, and we'll get into it when we go through it, is that there are some really interesting beers that you might have been like, oh, that's not going to pair well with chocolate. But there are ways of doing it in this book. And we've tried to pick some that we think are kind of a bit out there. Ones that you wouldn't have thought of doing that we went, ooh, to when we saw them in the book, didn't we?
I think, yeah. Well, I found that it was really difficult because there was a lot of things that we could have done, and I think we tried to pick beers that were that covered a range for all types of people. So if you're interested in trying this for yourself, you might, if we just picked the most out there ones only, it might be a step too far for some people, especially if you're kind of newer into your beer journey. So we wanted to kind of cover the breadth of like what's something that that we like in general, but also that like is accessible and inviting and approachable to people that maybe don't have as much, and maybe they only drink certain types of beer, and so I'm excited to see how some of these go, to be fair. But I found it really difficult to like narrow down which ones we were going to do, because as we were talking about, like, we could do this one and this one and this one, but we only can drink so much beer in one night and be somewhat coherent. So
the next day
we'll have to do this in parts.
And there's so many good pairings in here. I think as well, we also had a little bit of difficulty deciding and getting what chocolates we wanted. Originally, we were going to try and get some of, because David is based in the US, so he's got some quite niche chocolate in here, which all sounds delicious.
Which I did try to find while I was there, but like a lot of it, I found it was like the ones that you had sent me was like ones that were in Hawaii, and I was like, I'm not sure I'm going to
look at where they came from. I was just like, see if you can find these. We couldn't find them, so we have picked stuff from over here, from shops over here. So that might be better because we've kind of used the guidelines to pick what's available to us, which is something that you can then do yourselves as well.
To qualify, we got the same beers because we thought that would be really good. They have to kind of be the same beers, or else we can't really talk about the differing chocolates that we got, because obviously, as we know, there's not a lot of consistency between where I am to where Joe is to get similar chocolates, and ordering online can be quite cost prohibitive for some of these chocolates, because I think we looked at some websites and I found that some of it was just too cost prohibitive for me. But I actually then thought, I don't know if you had like logic that went into your purchasing, but we haven't told each other what chocolates we have. No. I've got this big old honkin' stack.
Got a massive pile.
Yeah, and I also have, because I couldn't make up my mind, because I was like, they all sound really nice, and I was trying to get the most like variety, and then I nicked these from work. Sorry to anyone that I work with that's listening to this.
Got some various different dairy milks.
I got some Freddos and little bars of dairy milk, because it's like I need a litmus test that is going to work between them just to see if it works. But we picked different chocolates, and the logic that went into like what I picked was, for the most part, I picked stuff that was available at I have a few that are niche, so I will qualify and say a few of these are niche. They have come back from the US with me. They are like more localized chocolate to where I was in the US, and Rick has kindly said that I'm allowed to open one or two of them as long as I save part of it for him. He's a massive like chocolate person as well, so we have so much chocolate,
which I always find so funny because he's so health conscious.
But that's why I kind of wasn't afraid to buy some of these chocolate bars, because I thought like ultimately like it's not like I'm going to eat a bit of this and then be like, that's it, enough chocolate for me. Like it will go, because we are a chocolate bar household in general. But I tried to find things for the most part that were accessible at supermarkets. Now, like a varying range. Like I didn't go to one supermarket, and some of the guidelines were so specific that even then I did find it difficult. So I just had to make the best choice that I could with what I could get. And I think I found some winners. And I'm interested to see. What about you? Like, you don't have to say where you got it from specifically, but
I went to one place and I was like, I wanted to go slightly higher end, but not like there is like a kind of independent chocolate shop in Canterbury. I didn't want to go that far. One, because it was a Sunday when I was shopping and I wasn't 100% sure it was going to be open, and two, I still wanted people to be able to get these if they wanted. Plus, so I went to Hotel Chocolat and
nice.
And spent some money on their 315 deals and got some nice ones. Originally, I was going to order it online and get it sent to my house, and then I was like, I'll just nip into town and get it, and then I don't have to pay the postage. And then when I was in town, they actually had more. They had some of the other ones that I'd wanted that weren't on the website, so I ended up spending more than I would have done if I just had it delivered to my house. So
well, we're like,
let me loose in Hotel Chocolat.
I was actually really surprised by some of the like what's available in supermarkets.
See, I was
shocked.
You had said, or what do you think of maybe something like this? And I was like, oh, I know she's shopping in supermarkets. So while I was in Canterbury, I went into Waitrose, Tesco, and Marks and Spencer's, and all three had nothing that was particularly interesting, exciting, or useful for me. So I was like, right, just a Hotel Chocolat then. So I'm jealous that you have got some interesting ones, because
maybe you won't find them interesting. It'll be interesting to see when I show you, because I've got like one that's not interesting at all. Some that are like really easy, accessible ones, and then some that are definitely like more interesting. Hadn't seen it somewhere before. Literally, I didn't even go into like poshy Waitrose because I was like, no, that could because of where Waitrose is. So. That's the best. Yeah, that's the best one, isn't it? Because you don't have to pay for their parking as long as you buy something.
And also, I was annoyed because I've got a gift card to use up in there. I've got a John Lewis gift card that was from Christmas, and I was like, I'll just go buy the chocolates. Then it's like I'm buying free chocolate. They didn't have anything. They also didn't have beers that I wanted for something else that we were doing. Waitrose failed me miserably, and that's the second time they failed me miserably. I'm very upset with Waitrose.
Write a complaint. You should write a big complaint letter. I didn't even go to Waitrose because that's in a different area, because I've got the shopping area around me. So there's a Sainsbury's that's like 5-minute walk from my office, so we go there on lunch. So I look there at lunch for some things, and then there's a big shopping area that's on my way back from work. That's a big Tesco's, like big Tesco's, and quite a big M&S. So I hit both of those up, and then on the high street I have a Co-op and a Lidl. So I went through like Co-op, Lidl, and the Co-op even, I will say, was being like cleared out as well because they're being refurbed. So there wasn't a massive selection there, but I did find like one thing there that I was like, okay, I'm happy with that.
Way better than
so between just like those standard supermarkets, I thought it would be good because, again, talking about the beers that we selected, like I wanted it to be accessible to people. I think actually between the two of us, we couldn't order for the Posh website because it was cost prohibitive. Probably what I spent, I probably should have just. Now. But when you see it all at one go, you're like, oh, that's a lot. That's a lot. But I did multiple small trips, so it didn't feel like quite so much until I got home, and there's this big brick, this big like 1980s brick phone size of chocolates. But I think, to be fair, like what's really good is you've done it from like a chain that's accessible to people across, that is higher end chocolate. I've done it from a supermarket perspective, so I think we really kind of cover the bases there, which is really nice. So quite excited to see where we managed to get to with it. So
so quick overview of the beginning of this book. There's some very useful bits and pieces before it gets into pairings. There is a little bit about the basics of beer. So if it's a chocolate person that's bought it and they don't know about beer, there's a good bit about that. There's then a bit of like basics about chocolate. And then there's a section on tasting. I don't think we need to revisit tasting beer. Like if you're not sure about tasting beer, go back and listen to some of our other episodes. Or, listen to us now and you'll see the things that we do when we're tasting the beer. But there is a bit about how to taste chocolate, which I thought was really useful. So I'm just going to go through the steps of that. So David breaks it down. He does it like on the same page, beer and chocolate, like in 2 columns. So they're beside each other, so you can see what you're doing for each one. And he does it by senses. So he does sight, smell, taste, and touch, which I thought was interesting. And then he does do hearing along with memory, emotion, and imagination.
I could get behind a lot of that. And actually now that makes
Yeah.
my intro make even more sense
Yeah.
beyond just Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. But I did find like the listening really interesting. I feel like
Yeah.
I already, like with beer tasting, I already kind of think about the memories and like that side of things as well.
Yeah.
Like instinctively it
Yeah.
just happens. And I think certain beers instinctively the listening happens, but like reading what you had managed to send me across in advance is like prep work. I was like,
Yeah.
well, that's quite interesting and not something.
Yeah.
I feel like this is something that if Rick's not listening to the podcast and he needs to listen to this episode, or I need to get him this book, because I feel like he'd really appreciate it, and I think he'd find that really interesting.
So you can, while we're saying about getting it, you can get it via Bean to Barstool on Instagram. I was looking for a picture of it, and it is on Amazon, so you can just buy it off of Amazon
Is it?
as well. Yeah.
I'm going to have to buy a copy or something because it sounds really interesting and it's
yeah.
just really fun. I feel like it would make a really good date night book. Just
Yeah.
before we get into it, I feel like it'd make a really good date night book for like an activity. Like you could set this up Valentine's Day, date night, if you celebrate Valentine's Day, Galentine's Day with your gals. Just a night in general. It doesn't have to be a romantic day. It could be like just a date with your friends in. Like I feel like there's so many good uses that you could use this book for that you probably don't even think of. It doesn't have to just be a personal use. So, oh my God, I feel like this would make a really great gift for someone that loves beer and chocolate, or just beer.
So I'll just run through the steps so that we're acquainted with what we should be doing when we're doing our chocolate and beer tasting. For sight, for chocolate, it says, admire the creative art and design of the wrapper and packaging. Enjoy the creative mold design of the bar. Note the colour, shine and texture of the chocolate itself. I've got to say, I've never thought about any of those things I'm sure if I've seen like a pretty chocolate bar, I've been like, oh, that's pretty, chomp. Do you know what I mean? Like, never taken the time to really appreciate it. So let's do that today. So for smell, because chocolate is a solid, there is generally less aromatic information to be picked up from chocolate than there is from beer. So if you're having trouble smelling your chocolate for that reason, open one end of the packaging and sniff inside. Rub or warm the chocolate slightly in your hands first. That's going to get messy.
Yeah, I when I read that, my immediate instinct was, can we just not do that?
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
I don't have any wet wipes next.
No, yeah, we're not going to do that. Break off a piece and smell the broken edge. Note any aromas that you can identify. There's a little highlighted section here. Before you taste your chocolate, hold a piece up to your ears and snap it with your fingers. A nice clean snap is a sign of proper tempering. It's also a fun little ritual of chocolate tasting. So for taste, put a small piece of chocolate in your mouth and allow it to melt for 20 to 30 seconds. This is going to be super interesting, super exciting to listen to.
I mean, I can try to talk people through it. I'll do my best.
Move it around on your tongue. Avoid chewing with your back teeth as the chocolate will get stuck there rather than hitting your taste buds. You can, however, lightly break it up with your front teeth to accelerate melting. That equally is going to be really interesting to watch if you're watching the video. Breathe out through your nose. So this is something that we do with beer also. Breathe out through your nose. I did think about that, yeah. To collect more aromatic information and note any flavours you can identify. For touch, before the chocolate has melted, notice the contours of the bar's mould on your tongue. Take note of the speed at which it melts. Notice the texture of the chocolate as it melts. Is it rough, creamy, gritty, etc.? Some chocolate can have astringency, which feels like a drying, gripping sensation on the tongue. So I thought that was interesting. And then very similarly to if you're setting up a beer tasting, there's some tips for, thinking about what other smells might be around, what sound, like if you got like what kind of soundtrack have you got playing? Is, if it's thrash metal, that might not be the best unless you're into that. It might not be the best soundtrack for what you're doing, like to concentrate on it and things like that. So have a think about that. You can, and as with beer, chocolate can evoke fun memories of times gone by and great experiences. So we'll consider all of that when we're doing that today.
I can't wait to appreciate the packaging, talk about the packaging, do the snapping of the chocolate bar.
My packaging's all
Hotel Chocolats.
Very,
same, isn't it? We can admire my packaging.
Yeah. There's then some basics for beer and chocolate pairing, some general things to keep in mind, a run through of pairing beer and chocolate, and then it shows how the book's laid out. So there's an example. The beers are in categories. Most of them are like a beer style or a family of beer styles. There's a couple that I marked, and there is even one. I think it's Funky Stouts that
Funky Stouts. I love that.
As David was just like, okay, so if you look at your BJCP app, Funky Stout isn't a thing. I'm aware of this, but this is what I mean by Funky Stout. So I enjoyed that. And in each one, there is some very basic background information about the style or the styles that are in that group, some basic sensory descriptions of the style, commercial examples that you could get. A lot of those are very American focused, bear in mind. Basic thoughts on how the style pairs with chocolate, some challenges to consider. And this is why I think this book is so good, because it gives you some basic thoughts, shows you the challenges that you might have when you're pairing beer and chocolate, types of chocolate that you should seek out as a good pairing, some commercial examples, and then some things that you should avoid. So, it's really helpful. And that, and there is that, because, sometimes you're like, oh, yeah, this might work really well. I like that. Avoid these with this beer style, because it just reminds you that, these particular aspects of this chocolate or this beer, they're just not going to work together. So think about that. And then a description, and then one or two examples for each one. So, shall we do our first pairing?
Yes, I'm very excited.
Okay, so our first one, this should be a fairly easy beer for anybody to get, is Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. So this comes under classic hoppy ales in the book. So in there, beers that can work within this section: American IPA, American Pale Ale, American Amber Ale, Red Ale and Imperial Red Ale, Red IPA, American Strong Ale, California Common, English Bitters, and British IPA. So it's kind of a collection of quite classic styles from the US and the UK. I thought this one was a good one for us to do, because I've done a bit of beer and chocolate pairing before, and hoppy, beers with a bit of bitterness, can be quite difficult to pair with chocolate. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. Also, and it's a beer that people can get quite easily. So the suggestions were something with caramel in it, because it could have actual caramel in it or something closely related to caramel, because that will pull forward the underlying malt flavours of the beer. And that will swing the pairings balance towards a sweet perception, which will slightly amplify the beer's subtly fruity fermentation notes and the sweeter weeding fruit aromas from the hops. So it could be white milk or dark, and it could have other inclusions, which could be ginger or orange, to pair with the hops that are in it. So I got a salted caramel milk bar from Hotel Chocolat. While we're looking at it, it has a very pretty Union Jack print on it, Union flag print on it. I haven't decided whether the bar has a layer of caramel in the middle of it, or if it's just caramel milk chocolate. Oh, it's got caramel pieces in it and sea salt.
Oh,
so
okay,
we'll see how this goes.
Nice. So I'm just trying to look at which one's actually probably the best one to use. I've got a few things here. I'm trying to remember. Can I just say as well? Let me just call out real quick.
Yeah.
That I think I got these at Waitrose, and I don't think these are ones that we're using today. But I got I'm not Waitrose. Lidl. Yeah, I got these two at Lidl. Look how fancy these look.
Oh, they are fancy. Madagascar dark chocolate.
It's Madagascar dark chocolate, 70% cocoa, single origin, and Grenadian milk chocolate, 46% cocoa, Grenada single origin. I just thought these just if you're looking for something that's basic level, for Lidl, that's fancy AF. So I'm not sure which one's the best one to go with, really, because actually I agree. When we were picking up the beer, we went to Sierra Nevada because we thought, from my perspective of it, I went again. I agreed that it was accessible. I could have got this at Tesco's. I didn't because I chose to get it in an order that we were getting. So this is what I think's come from the US as opposed to the supermarket one. But also, in my opinion, I think there's a lot of people that enjoy IPAs and hazy beers and pale ale and like those type of styles, like the pale ale styles and stuff. So I felt like arguably this would appeal to people that maybe don't want to try absolutely wild. Like, we think it's weird and this is like, a bitterness with the chocolate that makes it difficult, that makes it fun, that makes it exciting, that makes it a challenge. I think some people wouldn't think about that. They would think some of the other ones that we're pairing with, that we were like, that will be super exciting. They're going, oh, that's a bit too much, that's a bridge too far for me, that's too wild. I thought this was a good one for people that do like to just keep it a little bit more simple for them, like if this is where they're at on their journey. I did, just to keep it really accessible, I got a Galaxy
caramel classic.
Yeah, because I thought, I kind of want to see what happens there, like see if that's good. But then I also have,
what else did you get?
Well, I also have a ginger 60% cocoa black and greens. That came from Morrison. No, not Morrison. That one came from Sainsbury's, I think. That's an intense dark. And then I've got from, that one's a supermarket one. And then I got from a chocolate place at, near Lake Champlain in Vermont, a maple caramel, 57% cocoa dark. I thought the maple was could be usable.
Really exciting, yeah.
Should I try that one and see how that one goes?
Yeah, I would try that one as well. But your orange one, I'd be slightly concerned that the bitterness in it, because it's quite a dark chocolate, might pull out the bitterness in the beer.
Well,
but
yeah, it is an 8, so I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, that might be a bit too bitter. But this is the thing. So I didn't say this at the beginning, I forgot. Not all beer and chocolate pairings are going to work.
It's true.
So sometimes you're going to do it and you'll be like, oh, that didn't really work. But it's okay, because it's still fun to find out.
Oh, I think I'm missing one of my chocolate bars as well, to be fair.
No.
I had something else that I'm slightly missing. I'll find it after, though. Because this, just to check, was this the one that had orange? I know that we said you could have orange.
No,
that's not that one, yeah?
Orange
Fine,
is
cool.
for another one, yeah.
Just checking, because I realised that one's missing from here, and I was like, oh no, that one's really important. It's not here.
That's for a different one, so we're okay.
We've got my caramels.
Caramels.
I did think it would be fun to make it somewhat accessible as well.
Yeah. I thought caramel, I was like, when I saw caramel, I was like, oh yeah, because you got that slightly more biscuity backbone in an American IPA. A caramel bar is not going to work with a hazy, everybody, just so you're aware. Hazies do not fall into this section. They have their own section in the book. Classic. It smells a bit of caramel, a bit marmalade.
It does, yeah. I would say marmalade for sure. Hoppy.
Yeah.
Almost like a bit of like a burnt caramel, I think.
Yeah. Do we want to taste the beer, then taste the chocolate, then taste them together?
Oh, it's difficult, isn't it? Because I feel like once you have one, it will take the other. Or do we just
want to do them together?
I think maybe taste the beer first.
Yeah.
So that way we can say just what the beer tastes like first. Just a little baby sip.
Yeah.
And then cheers. I mean, it's bog standard Sierra Nevada, like in a good way. I mean that in a good way.
Right. You know what you're getting with Sierra Nevada is what that means. Yeah.
I do like on the can as well, it says family owned, operated and argued over.
Yeah.
That makes me laugh. I like that one. Yeah, I feel like you know exactly what you're getting with the Sierra Nevadas. No frills, like straight to the point, like just very good beer.
Yeah. That marmalade, little bit of caramel note goes into the beer, but there's a bit of bitterness, not overpoweringly so, but enough that it stops it from being overly sweet.
I feel like it's quite noticeable. For me, it's quite noticeable. I wouldn't say as bitter as like some West Coast IPAs and stuff that I've got, but it's a noticeable bitterness, but it's quite well balanced with the rest of the flavors and that burnt caramel. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's too much. Be interesting to see how this pairs with the chocolate.
Oh, mine's actually 2 skinny bars.
So you've got 2 skinny bars instead of.
I've got 2 skinny bars. I thought it was one big chunky one, but it's 2 skinny bars. So I don't think it's got caramel in it. I think it's caramel milk.
Which one should I do first on mine? Should I do the Galaxy bar first?
Yeah, do Galaxy
That's
first.
Just bog standard. Okay.
Right. Now, it is a warm day, listeners. So I don't think the snap is going to work for us because
all
of my chocolate is a bit.
Let's appreciate my wrapper. Oh, I've got a nice gold paper in, as you do with caramel, with the Galaxy bar. Oh god, yeah, the snap is.
No, mine is not a snap. No, it's too warm.
That's why I'm so glad I chucked mine in the fridge very, very quickly.
My bar, I'm smelling the broken edge of my chocolate. It smells a bit like honeycomb. It smells a bit like a crunchy.
This one just smells like just milk chocolate.
Yeah?
Yeah, this is just pretty milk chocolate.
I'm going to put my piece on my tongue and let it melt.
I'm going to just bite a piece and then let it melt because there's going to be so much caramel on the inside. This is way too big to...
Yeah. All right. I'm getting mine in my back teeth. That's really difficult to do.
It's really hard.
That takes practice.
There's so much caramel on the inside.
All right. Mine is melted. I'm going to take a sip of beer with it.
You know what? The caramel on the inside of it, works really well because I think the chocolate. To be fair, this chocolate is quite it comes through quite thick. Mm-hmm. The Galaxy one, and I asked Rich. I said, "Do I go Galaxy or do I go dairy milk caramel?" And he went, "Oh, if you're going caramel, you got to go Galaxy." And I was like, 100%. "Okay." But what I will say is, initially, when I first took a sip of the milk chocolate, I was like, oh, it's almost making the bitterness slightly more pronounced. But then it, immediately mixed with the caramel on the inside. And it was just, it just felt like an extension of those caramel, the caramel aromas that I was getting. I'm going to try a different one. Let's try the maple caramel now. Look at the packaging of my maple caramel.
Like a sunset.
That's nice, isn't it? It's like a beautiful sunset. I think that's meant to be mountains over Lake Champlain. So I'll let you talk about yours while I open up mine.
So I've just done a little bit more of mine. So mine has got, it's what Hotel Chocolat calls caramel milk. And then it's got little bits of caramel pieces in it and sea salt. Ooh. So as that melts on your tongue, you start to get the little bits of caramel and the little pops of salt. And then when you drink the pale ale with it, it's almost so that cleans your tongue off because of the carbonation and the bitterness. But as it goes through, you get almost like a river of caramel. It was really nice.
This has a snap to it, this one.
Oh, does it?
The packaging, there's a nice little packaging. It's all like a little, on the inside, you open it up. I will say, with Lake Champagne chocolate, it's, it says, more inside, learn how the chocolate bar is on a mission to change the world. It says... Way to go! In buying this chocolate bar, you're helping to build a stronger community. You're helping to build stronger communities and make the world a better place. 1% of sales from your purchase gets donated to non-profit programs that work to restore and strengthen our communities and preserve and protect our environment. They are certified B Corp and they are a family-owned Vermont chocolate company. So,
nice.
Born for a dare to do better. Born from a dare to do better. We are driven by our passion to change the world one delicious chocolate at a time. So that makes me feel even nicer. But this was proper sealed foil on the inside as well.
Oh yeah. You know it's fancy chocolate when you've got that rolled over bit of foil.
Yeah. And it's the packaging inside the packaging. And there's a nice snap. I'll see if you can hear it. Hold on. Because I need to break a bit of it off.
Oh yeah.
There's multiple layers. Oh, yeah, there's caramel on the inside. Look at that. It's oozy.
Fancy chocolate.
She oozy.
I thought I was the one with the fancy chocolate.
I kind of want to take a bite before I let it melt just to know what it's going to taste like without it melting on my tongue. Ooh, that's interesting. The caramel and the maple with the dark chocolate is very interesting. I know I just bit it, and that's just like a cardinal rule of what I was meant to do. But I needed to know what it was going to taste like as it was oozing. All right, let me try the other bit. Hold on. It's really hard not to bite it. I would argue this one brings out the bitterness a bit more.
I think it's the dark chocolate.
I think it is the dark chocolate.
Yeah.
It's very lovely. Tastes really nice, but I think the bitterness is quite pronounced.
Yeah.
It smells like the smell you get from it as well is very much dark chocolate.
Yeah.
As opposed to the Galaxy bar, you really got the caramel. I mean, you've got the milk chocolate, but once it's ripped open, I can smell the caramel and I can really taste all that.
Yeah.
Even smelling where the caramel is on this one, it is just all dark chocolate, but it smells very good quality dark chocolate. And it doesn't, the chocolate itself, when I'm eating it, it's not so bitter. I've had dark chocolate, I go, that's too bitter, I don't enjoy that.
Yeah.
It's like, I'd just rather not have any chocolate. This one's quite nice. So it is good. I'm not sure I'd say it definitely goes with Sierra Nevada though.
I like it. I like my pairing. I think it's good. I don't think it's great. And I think that's something that David notes in the book. Like, you can do some very like simple pairings that are good, but it's when you get like the really interesting stuff that you make a great pairing. This is a good pairing. It's not great, I think, in my opinion.
I would argue the Galaxy is actually really good with it, but again, I think that's because it's milk chocolate. Should I quickly try the green and black with it and see if the ginger makes a difference? All right, hang on. I'm shoving my face with chocolate. I need to cleanse the palate. Hang on. More beer to cleanse the palate. Tell me, while I'm cleansing the palate, have you properly done like how many pairings like this with like a hoppy, a beer, and some chocolates? Like, have you done? Because obviously you mentioned this before.
Yeah, I've done a few. I find I did like a hazy IPA, something that's got like very citrusy flavors about it. I found went really well with like a lemon white chocolate.
Nice.
Because like the sweetness in the white chocolate kind of works with the sweetness in the beer. Nice. And the citrus then pairs with the citrus in the beer as well, but kind of adds another layer to it. I think I had there's a triple hopped Duvel, and I think I had like a white with lime and sea salt, and with the beer, and that was like a white chocolate with lime and sea salt, and that was really good.
I feel like I don't ever really gravitate towards white chocolate, but the idea that
I love white chocolate.
Some of these would pair so well with like a really interesting white chocolate. We've got another one that's got this one's gold foil on the inside. So foil inside, the green and blacks. But I feel like when I see green and blacks, I go, that's a fancy supermarket chocolate.
Oh yeah.
All right, I'm gonna listen for the snap. Hang on. Smell wise, it just smells really heavily of dark chocolate, and I would expect, because ginger tends to be quite powerful, I would have expected there to be a lot more like power in the ginger.
Yeah.
But what I kind of enjoy is that there isn't, because I think sometimes ginger can be too overpowering. Oh, this one's got a lighter snap.
Well, it had a nice snap to it. I heard it.
I would say in terms of the snaps so far, this one's got the middle. Galaxy's got the worst snap. This is the next up one, because there is one, but it's not very loud. And the Lake Champlain, oofa doofa. I mean, you can tell. I guess that kind of says the difference between like their qualities as well.
Yeah.
That one had like the best snap, and it was really good. So let's see. Still don't really smell the ginger, but these are also nice, like smaller pieces.
Little squares.
I think it just works better.
I love that we still call them squares of chocolate, but they've always been rectangles.
Rectangle. Yeah, it is a rectangle, isn't it? This one has quite some texture to it. I wouldn't say I get more of the ginger. It's almost coming across minty, weirdly.
Oh.
It definitely is more like grainy texture to it. Okay. So it must be that there's bits of ginger like in it.
In it, yeah.
Doesn't taste as dark chocolate wise as the other one. It melts really, really quickly.
Ooh.
I don't get a lot of ginger, but like I said, there's almost like a weird mintiness that's coming through. Pairs quite well, but I'm just going to crunch it now because it's way too hard to keep. I think I kind of have to get the ginger. I would say this one, I get the ginger now, but again, it's coming across in a really weird way. It's not like a spicy.
Yeah.
Definitely more subdued. The dark chocolate is not as dark as you expect. And I think like out of all three of them, this one was probably the one that muted the bitterness the most.
Yeah.
But I would say the Galaxy actually was the one that was the best paired with the flavor. Like I feel like it blended with the flavors the best.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like this one really, it was so evenly matched with it that I feel like I didn't get a lot of depth of flavor. And the other one just clashed way too much. And I was like, I really like this chocolate and I really like this beer and I really don't like them together.
Don't like them together though.
That's my conclusion. There we go.
All right.
Pack these away.
So our second chocolate, I feel like so when I saw this in the book, I was like, we have to do one of these because it's us. We have to. So there is a section on spiced beers, and of course it references pumpkin spice beers. So we had to get ourselves a pumpkin beer and chocolate pairing. So we have the Pilgrim from Abbeydale. We haven't drunk them yet. We've still got them.
Mm-hmm. We sure do.
So pairing with those. So there's in the spiced beer section, there's pumpkin beer, Christmas ale, or other fall and winter spiced beers. They all come in together.
Like we weren't going to do pumpkin spice.
Right, like we weren't going to do pumpkin spice. Hello, who are we? We are those basic bitches.
We are those complex bitches.
So these ones, it does depend on what spices are in there. David says they show some degree of sweetness, which can help bridge gaps when pairing with chocolate. Additionally, subtle spices work as helpful complements to many chocolates, as do the toasty or chocolatey underlying malt flavours of many examples. So the challenges with these beers, sometimes the sweetness is more perception than reality, which can make it tough to predict balance in a pairing. Bold spicing can react harshly with cacao bitterness. Mm-hmm. So probably not a very dark one. Seek out cherry, coconut and cranberry inclusions. Oh, I wanted to find something with cranberry in it. I couldn't find anything. They all offer fun flavour harmonies, while toffee and caramel provide good foundational bridges. Sweeter smoke bars can work as well, as long as the spice in the beer is restrained. Plain dark milk bars offer easy companionship. Low to medium percentage coffee bars are nice as long as the beer's spices are restrained. Now, I went coffee because
so many options.
Pumpkin spice latte.
I have so many options. Like, I'm not even going to lie to you. So I'll let you just narrow down because I think some of these can work across like two. So let's narrow this down.
Yep.
Rick's kindly donated saying that I could have this another Lake Champlain coffee cold brew using oat milk, plant-based truffle bar. But that means it's a truffle bar, so maybe not the best. I don't know. Maybe I'll save that for the end. It might be. Yeah. I think it might be too thick.
Oh yeah.
I also got from the M&S Food Hall a cappuccino bar.
Oh God, I love those cappuccino bars.
I've never had it.
Oh, it's good.
But I can't tell if that, like, I feel like this might be with the way that I got this without having seen how to taste stuff. I think this might be harder to snap. It might be harder to...
It's quite, like, the middle is almost truffly. So that...
so again,
we'll see how that goes.
that feels like that's going to be harder as well. Not quite what you said, but I got a butterscotch because I thought that could potentially work.
I feel like we could try the previous caramels with this one as well.
Yeah, so maybe do that. I've got some ones with fruit in it, but I don't know if this is the one to use these fruit ones, but I'll bear it all. I've got a Co-op dark chocolate with raspberries, which is a rich and fruity with sweet raspberry pieces made with carefully selected Peruvian 57% cocoa. I was shocked that they had that.
Well, yeah, but I would save the raspberries.
Okay, save the raspberries. I won't tell you what the other raspberry is. I've got some... Was there another one that was for smoky as well?
Can't remember.
Because I got one that I thought would be...
Did you get a smoky chocolate one?
I've managed to potentially find one, but this one's a really, really cool one. So I'm like saving that one.
Let me see what our other ones say. No, don't think so. I mean, you can try bits of it with any ones that once you
I feel like
you can try it with any of them.
I feel like this one could be good or it could match too well in some areas.
Yeah.
So I went to go get my haircut on the weekend and I was trying to support local business and I went in to support my local coffee shop because the hours that is open is normally hours that I cannot make it there. So I was like, I'll get a nice coffee on the way in. It's nice and early. This will be good. And then I saw they had some look at this packaging. This beautiful packaging, 100% recyclable packaging. If you're not watching, it is literally gold leaf all around the edges and there's like a doodle on the inside and it's all like dinosaurs that say raw and all these other things, and I'm gonna hold a look at it. It's dinosaurs. There's a T-Rex breathing fire, I think.
Art House Unlimited.
Yeah, so it's called Art House Unlimited. This one is, so it says presenting artistic talents of adults with complex neurodiverse and physical support needs. So I loved that. Suitable for vegetarians, not vegan friendly, but that's fine. And Art House Unlimited is a charity presenting artistic talents of adults with complex neurodiverse and physical support needs, offering a sense of purpose. Lies at the heart of the charity. 100% of sales revenue helps support sustainability and growth. And this one's called Dinosaurs, and that's a collaborative artwork, and I love it. And this is a milk chocolate with smoky malt crunch, sea salt, and cinnamon.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing. I just want the chocolate bar.
So I saw another one that was smoky. They caught my eye because of the design. So like if we're this whole thing of talking about like chocolate bars in terms of like design and stuff, this caught my eye because I just went, this is the most beautiful packaging. It's textured, like that writing on it is like textured. Wow. It is just this beautiful thing. So it caught my eye. And then I went, oh, that's some interesting flavours. And I went, oh, I could do that. But it is like, £6. And I was just like, I've got so many chocolate already. This was a last minute addition. So I was like, I have so many chocolates already. I wanted to find something smoky or something along those lines. And I really struggled. And then I saw one that was like smoky. And I was like, okay, there was a chocolate with smoky and something else. And then I went, oh, that could be interesting. I don't really need it. But then I saw that it was a charity. And I was like, well, fine then. You got me. It's for charity. I hadn't even really noticed they were dinosaurs at the time. I just went, that's an amazing smattering of color and design, and I love it. And then when I saw that it also was smoky, sea salt, and cinnamon on milk chocolate, I was like, I'm in, and this will work, and I'm gonna go with it.
Nice.
But yeah, I'll do that one.
I like those. So I went for salted espresso martini.
Ooh, fadufa. I love that.
Yeah. A punch of organic Turkish coffee, a slug of small batch cocoa vodka, and a pinch of salt. So we'll see how that is. But this was one that I didn't find on the website when I was going to order from home, but found in the shop. Cafe latte chocolates. So they're Arabica coffee and smooth hazelnut meets the creamiest white chocolate. So nutty white chocolate with coffee in it. We're going to see how that goes because I'm going down the like pumpkin spice latte route with my ones.
I wanted to do that, but that was
salted caramel.
I was gonna say I wanted that, but then I was a bit like I really struggled to find just like coffee ones.
Yeah.
And so like Rick was like, "Oh, we have this."
Cappuccino bar might be good with it though.
He was like, "I found the cold brew, so just have that, but don't eat both of them. There's 2 in there." And then I was like, "Yeah, okay." And then I saw the cappuccino bar, and I thought, "Oh, that could be all right." And then when you sent me the tasting note about like bite it and let it rest on your tongue, I was like, oh, "That's gonna be a hard one, isn't it?"
That's okay. It's the flavours as well. Getting the flavours in your mouth is also part of it. So we picked this one because I think it said in the description, pumpkin beers are usually more influenced by the flavour of full baking spices such as cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg and allspice than they are by the flavour of pumpkin itself, which is pretty mild. Well brewed versions of any of the styles in this section will use a modest approach with these spices. We went for something that's more a pumpkin ale, which Pilgrim's more of a pumpkin ale than, pumpkin spice latte, very pumpkin spiced. Like this one I always think is quite close to what like the American ones that you get. So that felt like a good one to choose.
Also, it's one that we both had.
Yeah, also it was one we still had.
Because I've got other pumpkin ones.
I've got the pumpkin ones.
But I don't think we've got matching ones.
No.
Or they were like stouts and we're like, oh, maybe not a stout. I think this one will probably be the one that's like the better one to pair with chocolates. Not that stouts aren't, but I think a lot of the stout ones we have are so much more already quite luxurious or like just full on. Whereas this one, it is so like, again, not to say no frills, but it is just this like no frills pumpkin spice beer that is really good. We know we like, and we know that it's probably going to pair really well with stuff.
Oh, it smells so good. Ginger, cinnamon, nutmeg, a little bit of clove. Just that perceived sweetness.
Yeah, so just to say what's in it as well for people that are like wondering, is they do actually put pumpkins. I know pumpkin spiced ale doesn't always have to have pumpkin in it, but there is pumpkin in it, allspice, cinnamon, cloves, ginger, nutmeg. I get the ginger more heavily, and I feel like I always get the ginger more heavily in some of these because I think people are afraid to put more cinnamon in because I think they're afraid like
put more cinnamon in.
I think they're afraid like cinnamon will overpower it because it can, and I'm like, nah. Like you all know, I don't have to say it. You all know my feelings on cinnamon.
If you're new around here, we like cinnamon. We measure cinnamon with our heart, not with a measuring thing.
I measure cinnamon with my being. Yeah, I love it.
It's good.
It's so good. It's just a really good ale that is just a really all the spices, and I love it. Yeah. And it just makes me happy.
Does it make you
just
think of
want to
home?
Be happy? Well, I guess it depends on what you consider home. Home is where your dog makes a mess molting, isn't it? So it makes you think of I don't know. Like,
did it make you think of fall?
It definitely gives me like end of summer vibes. Like I think that's what it is because like I wouldn't say that like pumpkin stuff is always limited to autumn. I think like for me it's like the end of summer going. I mean, I'm year round. Let's be honest, I'm a spoopy bitch. Like year round.
But I'm also like the chat we had today where I almost had a klaxon because I got sent a photo that was like, "Bruh, the secret menu's out. It's starting in August."
Sorry. Yeah, it's starting soon. I haven't got the second she's talking about Starbucks. The second that if we ever, not everyone's gonna know that. No, not everyone can match our freak. So basically. There's some people that like I'm just going to take a side note for a minute.
Okay.
It's really surprising some of the people that can match our freak on pumpkin spice because I'm like, that's not what I expected here. And then there's other people that you expect you'd be like, yeah, same. And they're like, not same. Don't even talk to me about that. That's disgusting. Right. And you're like, yeah, I also think it's not gross. That's you. But so I saw it popped down in the drop-down menu on my phone as a news article I might be interested in. I was like, you obviously know I am interested in it. And it was like, the new autumn menu's been released for Starbucks. And I was like, obviously I'm going to read whatever like spam-filled, virus-inducing article this is. Like, you got me. So I opened it and it was like, including favourites pumpkin spice from from August, and I was like, it is August, yes, but I'm guessing it's going to be like end of August, because they love to be like, we're rolling it out in August, and August means like the last day of August until
I've had it like
the last day of September, and I'm like, I'm out there the second that my app, I don't even go to Starbucks that much because we just make our coffee at home. We have like really nice coffee maker and everything. The second, I don't know what crack they put in it. It is so good.
It's so good.
They use the real pumpkin. I've tried to recreate it. I cannot recreate it. No pumpkin spice syrup I buy in the world is even equivalent. No. And the second that message comes out, that's like, you're a Starbucks Gold member, you get early access. I'm like on it, like middle of the meeting. I will take my headphones off and be like, I am out, meeting adjourned. Whatever you want, done. You want free, done. Consider it sorted. I'm out. Peace. And then I'm like out that door so quick. It's not even funny. I don't even know. That's how literally that made me very excited. Literally
that TikTok where the woman hears it's pumpkin spice and she rolls over the desk and gets in her car and just tries. That is when I saw that, I was like, this is Tori Powell. Who made a TikTok of Tori Powell? Who did that?
Is that that's like that guy that's like through the drive-thru and he's like, I want my pumpkin spice.
Yes, that's you.
That is.
I found that and I sent it to you and I was like, you right here.
I want my pumpkin spice. Yeah, that is 100% me. That is so me. I'm unapologetic about it. I am that spooky, scary skeletons guy with the mask, and he's like doing the like that's me all year round. Like if I could get it all year round, I'd have it. So the question was, does this make me think of autumn? It makes me think of just my love in general year round. But it's when it's the end of summer, going back to school time, it's getting to be like spoopy season of like, we're going apple picking, let's watch Hocus Pocus. Yeah, Rick hates it. I'm like, guess what we're watching tonight? And he's just like, I'm not watching it, I'm going to bed.
Bye.
Like, I know every word.
Yep. Anyway, beer and chocolate pairing. I can't decide what I want to choose first.
I will do my fancy AF one first, because now I'm feeling bougie. I'm feeling complex.
Espresso martini first.
I'm going to save the coffee one for the end, because I feel like the smokiness of this might be really hard to like.
Yeah.
If I have the coffee first, that one might be overpowering of these. There's quite subtle flavours, I think. Smoky's going to be heavy, but like malt, crunch, sea salt, and cinnamon. I'm like,
yeah,
there's a lot happening. This one comes with a card as well. Oh, look at that. That's lovely. I'm going to guess those are people that are supported by the charity.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great.
That's amazing.
I love this. This is cool. And look at that fancy. Like, I wouldn't say...
Oh, is it green? Oh, it's green.
Yeah, it's like a green paper. And it's not like the sealed one like the other, but I don't feel like that makes it less fancy.
It's fancy.
I feel like it was already wrapped in a fancy. Yeah. And this is like local... I'm going to guess this is more like locally procured. Yeah, Godalming. So that's Surrey. So quite local-ish. So I mean, it's already kind of cracked now. Look at that. Look at how that looks.
Oh, you can see the additions.
Yeah, that's like that's the back part of the bar, but it just, you can tell that this is all quite locally made. I like them.
Apologies for the rattling packaging that you're just going to get.
No, that's ASMR. Don't apologise for that.
Oh, sorry.
People pay for that. I'm going to listen for the snap.
You're going to snap yours?
It's a very gentle snap.
Yeah,
it's not a very strong snap, but I also think this one's more impacted by the heat. Ooh. I wonder if some level of my US one didn't feel like it was as impacted by the heat as some of the other ones. Yeah. This one's probably the most impacted. But I wonder if it's because the US one has to withstand like hot weather normally.
Yeah.
And the other two are like mass produced, so those have to handle it. Whereas this is more locally made and doesn't have to normally deal with this kind of heat.
So I've opened mine and I can smell the booze in mine.
Can you
already?
Is that the espresso martini one?
Yeah, the salted espresso martini one's right.
This one, I smell the smokiness and I love it. This is very subtle.
Coffee.
This is just pure chocolate with this like tiny little hint of smoky.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to bite into mine. Here we go.
Ooh, salty. I like it. going to go have a sip with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the saltiness on mine has thrown it off too much.
Okay.
The chocolate is amazing. And before, like, the first bit of salty was okay. Because then it kind of got washed away a bit quick. But then when I got, like, a big clump of saltiness, it worked really well with the chocolate. But it didn't work as well with the pumpkin spice. Although the lingering taste of it, I was going to say I didn't get a lot of the smokiness or, like, the spice note of it. But it's almost made, like, the ginger last a bit longer in my mouth. I don't know how to explain that. Maybe it's just brought the ginger out more. I don't know. But once I've swallowed it and there's just a little bit of saltiness like left in my mouth from it, it works okay. I think it's just while they're both in my mouth at the same time, it's just not as good. But the chocolate itself, I do recommend. It's really good if you're in the area and you can buy some of the chocolate. Just maybe not as good with this one.
Mine does taste like a pumpkin spice latte.
Okay. Can I try some of the cappuccino bar? Even though I know I'm not going to be able to taste it properly. I'm just going to, like, honk a bit off of it. Oh my god, yeah, this cappuccino bar is fucking
good, right? I love those cappuccino bars.
I think it brings out the bitterness quite a bit more than when I don't have anything with it. Like, there's not a lot of bitterness to me in the Abbeydale beer when I don't have chocolate pairing with it. This one, the cappuccino bar, brings out the bitterness a little bit more pronounced. But actually, how it's like quite moussey, when that mixes with it, yeah, it does taste more like I wouldn't say like a pumpkin spice latte. It tastes like a cappuccino that I've then put some pumpkin syrup in, like some pumpkin spice syrup into.
Oh, my cafe latte ones do not work.
Do they not? That face was disgust. It was
this
pure
one does
disgust.
not work. I didn't realise that it had hazelnut in it. I thought it was just white chocolate with coffee. And until I read it out just now, I didn't realise there was hazelnut in it. The hazelnut does not work with the pumpkin spice. Like, it tastes like dead leaves.
Oh my god, what is happening? Dead leaves.
Dead leaves. It tastes like dead leaves. I mean, it tastes like autumn. Not the good bit of all. Like the smell of when you're walking through the woods and there's like...
I like that though.
Dead... No, but they're like when they're soggy after it's rained.
Oh, no.
Yeah, not the like crisp when they've just fell, you're kind of crunching on them. When it's rained, they're soggy and it's all slippery and gross and it smells like rotting. That's what it tastes like. Not a match, everybody. Not a match.
I don't like
the
that.
Chocolate's really nice. The chocolate is really nice. It does not go with this beer. Oh, I can't even finish the chocolate.
Do you think that's going to traumatize? Do you think that's going to traumatize you from having the chocolate again?
No.
I just had some of the ginger.
Oh, I don't know, maybe.
I just had the ginger with it, thinking maybe that might be too much. But I think because the ginger's so subdued by the dark chocolate, unless it's like literally the last bite once all the chocolate's melted away, I think it's ended up working out quite well. I'm already feeling full from all this chocolate. It's a lot.
Highly recommend the salted espresso martini balls with the pumpkin spice. It's like a really rich espresso with pumpkin spices in it. Oh, so
Do we say just the dairy milk itself could work?
It says to avoid any chocolate with notable bitterness or acidity, higher percentage dark bars, so you should be right.
I'm going to go with normal dairy milk. There's no crunch to it. It's not the best chocolate in the world. It's alright. It's not bad.
Yeah. Salted espresso martini balls from Hotel Chocolat with Pilgrim Pumpkin Spice Ale. Great pairing. I'm very pleased with that. Do not have it with the cafe latte, cafe latte ones.
Or do, because maybe I want someone else to have it.
If you want, but I'm going to try a bit of my caramel chocolate with it.
I would love to, but I just don't think I can eat this much more chocolate. This is why I'm like, I feel like we had to save it. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm already getting the chocolate sweats.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, no, I just made it up. It might just be the normal sweats because it's hot. It's really warm today.
Sweats.
The chocolate parent sweats. You know that old saying of like, I don't know, never have your chocolate and beer together. That's gives you the chocolate sweats. Maybe I'll try my posh one again. My posh maple caramel. I am kind of just giving up, like, when it's the third round of it, like, of a certain one. I'm like, I'm not going to let it melt on my tongue anymore. I'm just going to bite it.
Yeah, I was just chewing it. The caramel was okay. Like, it was nice. Not as good as the salted espresso martini. That was super good.
I don't think that's the one.
No, that doesn't work.
No, I don't think it does. That's the posh one. The maple caramel. Dark chocolate. I think the dark chocolate's too bitter.
It does say avoid chocolate with notable bitterness or acidity.
Can vouch.
Yeah, don't do that.
I mean, it doesn't taste like what you said.
Rotten leaves.
It just tastes like I don't enjoy either.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I can vouch that's bad. Don't do that one.
Should we move on to a third one?
Yeah.
Right. So this one, I guess we can kind of look at two spots in this one. So this is we've got a non-alcoholic sour from Omnipollo. It is a non-alcoholic Bianca. I haven't had a Bianca in ages.
Me either. I can't tell you the last time I had a Bianca.
Remember we used to chase them down?
I remember when I paid fucking £18 for a Bianca.
Right? And the Biancas were the hot ticket and you just bought ridiculous things. They were good though.
I have never paid... I'm not going to say I've never paid that much for a beer since, but like I've never paid that much for a beer that I can now get relatively accessibly.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So we've got a non-alcoholic Bianca, which is pineapple flavoured, I believe.
Pineapple?
So for non-alcoholic beers, the basic rule of thumb with a non-alcoholic beer is because it is lighter, generally, you need to go lighter with the chocolate. So the example, there's an example for a stout and there is an example for a fruited sour. For the stout, normally you'd go for like a 65% bar. David suggests lowering it and going 45 to 55%. Because just the body of because the non-alcoholic beers' bodies are generally much thinner, it's not going to be able to support that higher percentage chocolate. He suggests for a sour, the acidity and the bulb fruit help to cover over some of what's missing from the absence of alcohol. He picked a mango dragon fruit sour and paired a dark milk and Earl Grey tea bar with it. So obviously the tea and the fruit went really well together. I felt that for a non-alcoholic beer, for a non-alcoholic sour, because it was pineapple, I went for a milk chocolate bar with raspberry in it. Because I felt the raspberry would go really well with the pineapple. I did, however, it's a bar called Raspberry Riot, and it's got dollops of zingy yet creamy raspberry white in a mellow 40% milk, and then there's cocoa biscuits and raspberry pieces on the top to bring some crunch. So we're going to see how this goes.
So I've got 2 raspberries, and I kind of don't want to open both, but I struggle to find the right percentage.
What percentage are those two?
But I think this one's actually all right. So the one that I found earlier, which was the chocolate for change, which was the co-op one, which actually I thought was not bad for co-op. Like,
yeah,
that is a 57% cocoa Peruvian cocoa, rich and fruity with sweet raspberry pieces, made with carefully selected pieces of that. And it looks like we sourced the cocoa and the chocolate from smallholder farms in Peru. So that's good. Well, that wasn't bad for a co-op special. Yeah. And then at the other supermarket, which I actually think this one's probably potentially better, a Lindt chocolate raspberry intense, and that one is fine dark chocolate with raspberry pieces. The reason I think this one potentially is better because it says it's 47% cacao.
Oh yeah,
so I'm guessing this one is because I couldn't see on the front of it at the time. I could only see at the back. So I was like, I'll get this one and see. The 57% is relatively low. So if I get home and this one's not the right percentage. So shall I go with the Lindt one then?
I think the Lindt one's a good idea, yeah.
All right, let me put the chocolate for change to the side. Also, can I share with you a really good chocolate bar that I got that I don't think is going to match anything today? But the M&S collection, oh my God, blonde chocolate with Italian almonds. Look at that.
Oh, look at that. They definitely did not have that in the M&S I went into.
16% almonds. I don't know why it's telling me it's 16% almonds with a hint of sea salt. Oh. And I was like, well, that velvety creamy chocolate with strong caramel notes contrasts with crunchy roasted almonds. That sounded amazing. I just needed you to know about that one.
Thank you.
Because I put that to the side and I was like, you need to know. That's where it's at.
Right, here it is. The little beauty. Bright orange can with purple feathers on it with green spots.
It's pretty, isn't it?
Yeah. They just have good artwork, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They really do.
Yeah. I feel like it's been a long while since I've had an Omnipollo.
It has, for me anyways.
Oh, that smells like pineapple juice.
Smells like pineapple. It smells like pina colada and I love it. Oh, it really smells like proper. I do actually drink pineapple juice, so it smells like pineapple juice and I'm loving it.
It smells exactly like when you crack open a carton of pineapple juice.
It does indeed. I'm actually not convinced that this isn't just pineapple juice.
Yeah,
Omnipoli's not just chucked pineapple juice into a.
Right, it's just fizzy pineapple juice. That's all it is.
I think it might be actually.
It has got a little bit of coconut cream to it.
Yeah. Okay. I literally get pineapple. I get like a pineapple and like I get tropical fruit mix where they get like pineapple and banana.
It smells
like
like tropical fruit mix.
It smells like tropical fruit mix, basically, or like a pina colada before you add like proper alcohol in.
Yeah. All right.
Or if you do a really heavy pineapple on your pina colada.
That's just pineapple juice.
That is just fucking pineapple juice, isn't it?
I'm
not mad though.
I'm not mad. It's delish. The body's really good as well, actually. And if I remember rightly, I think when we did non-alcoholic beers quite a while ago, I think we had an Omnipollo non-alcoholic sour, and it was equally as good.
Because I think because I think the feedback was the same of like it just tastes like juice. Like it didn't taste like it. There wasn't anything that I was like, oh, this tastes like a proper like tart sour. Not, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean like it tasted really nice, but it is because it was so like that juice element of it was like so like the flavors were so on point with like what it was supposed to be in terms of the fruit. Whereas like, this is really good, but then I'm like, Yeah, you're like, oh yeah, I mean, it tastes great. Yeah, it does. It
So
also just tastes like pineapple juice.
It tastes like pineapple juice. Ingredients: water, barley and wheat, pineapple, orange, hops, yeast, and pineapple flavour. So there's barley and wheat in it.
Yeah, no,
not just
there's
juice.
there's no shade. There's no shade. It just tastes like pineapple juice, or it tastes like if you were to get like pre-mixed pina colada and then you needed to add in the Malibu. That's what it tastes like.
It's quite sweet, so I'm going to be interested to see how it does against the chocolate.
Well, I think mine might be okay because it's dark chocolate.
Yeah, because yours is dark. Mine's milk, so I'm concerned my pairing is not going to land.
I'm not going to lie to you. So there was another one of the pairings that I got.
Yeah.
That I can't find the bar for, and I'm gutted because I was like, this would be a really interesting one for the next beer that we've got. But I can tell you, this has kind of been slightly my hell, because some of these, it's like you have to choose between like, do you want dried fruit or do you want something like chocolate orange? And like, I don't like fruit. True. I don't like fruit in my chocolate. So it was like, do I want dried fruit or do I want a fruit taste in my chocolate? And I was like, I personally don't want either of those things. I prefer other adjuncts. Yeah. It's just not the one. What was your packaging like? Did you have anything? Again, was it just the open?
Just a plastic sleeve. It is very pretty. The bar's very pretty though. It's got blobs of raspberry cream in it. And then there's freeze-dried raspberry sprinkled through it and little like Oreo biscuit looking blobs in it as well. So it's very pretty.
Mine's all...
It smells lovely. It smells like raspberries with a bit of milk chocolate. It smells exactly what it's supposed to smell like.
Mine's like in a chocolate prison. It's so hard to get into this wrapper.
I'm going in with mine.
Okay. So did you listen for the crunch?
Mine are all soggy. Well, mine are all warm. And there's no crunch on mine.
Let's see if mine have. Again, it's a very mild break. Oh god, yeah, this is very I mean, it's not bad in the sense of aroma wise. It smells beautiful. It's chocolate and very raspberry. I don't like fruit in my chocolate, so this is just a lot.
Mate. This is so good. Like, the sweetness of the chocolate doesn't take away from the sweetness of the beer. And so I'm getting, like, this mouthful of, like, pineapple, raspberry. Oh, it's it's added an extra layer to the tropical punch of it. Oh.
I can't even disagree. I really don't like fruit and chocolate. But if I'm going to do it, this is the one to do it for. This one might be the best collab so far.
It's so good.
Although, to be fair, as much as I love pineapple juice, I love pineapple. The sweetness of them, I feel like I couldn't just have too much of this. I already have the chocolate sweats. The sweetness element from this one is so filling. And it's so like
330ml can.
It's so thick. Mm-hmm. It's quite sweet. It's a lot. It's gorgeous, but it is a lot. It's a lot for it to be the third beer and like numerous chocolate square. Ooh. Putting this other square away is too much. But it's really enjoyable. I think this might be a really winning combination. I don't want to try it with anything else, so I feel like it's going to ruin it.
Yeah. Raspberry chocolate with this beer is phenomenal.
I feel like we can both co-sign that.
Mm-hmm.
Really recommend that. I don't know how it would work if it was just like a lighter pineapple taste. If it was like a hazy beer, like some of the ones I have, like, you know, like Sabra or whatever, and it's like a hazier beer that's not necessarily meant to be like a sour. It doesn't have as much of that, like, it has pineapple taste, but not like pineapple juice. Like this tastes like a juice, so it works really well. I don't know how it would work if it was just like a hazy IPA or something like that with some pineapple flavour to it. Be interesting to try, actually.
Yeah. I like my reasoning behind this was I knew we were getting a pineapple sour, so I was like, right, if we get a fruity chocolate, I was like, if I get a raspberry fruity chocolate, because like raspberry, it's got a sweetness to it, but also it's got a bit of sourness that will cut through that as well. So I'm pleased with that pairing.
I think the dark chocolate of mine works really well because it's not, you already have a really sweet beer and a really sweet and tart fruit that's featured in the chocolate. So like the dark chocolate element of it, where it's not massively, like it's not on the heavier side of the dark chocolate where it's super, super bitter, but like the luxurious taste of that dark chocolate like just holds up really well against all the sweetness. That's really pretty. Look at that. Little pink bits.
Oh yeah, you got little pink bits in yours. I feel like the sweetness of my milk chocolate kind of tamped down the sweetness of the beer a bit and made it all really balanced really well.
Nice.
Very pleased with that. Right, our fourth and final pairing is probably the one that I was most excited about, and it was the one that I insisted we had to do.
I know, it's the one that I was like, I was on the fence because I was like, I feel like this is the low-hanging fruit of like the easiest one to do. In the sense of this is the one that everyone's going to expect to be done, I feel like. It's the one that I feel like gets referenced in beer and chocolate pairings, but it's also quite interesting. Yeah, I've seen people do people look at that. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen it before, which is why I was like, we're doing that one.
So I've definitely heard of people doing it before. And then I was a bit like, oh, it feels like this one is going to be like the expected one. I don't know. But then I was like, nah, it's interesting. Let's do it. I can never say no to it.
Listeners, if you're new around here, hello. We are big fans of Duchesse de Bourgogne, which is a Flanders red ale. We love Duchesse. We are contemplating hosting a birthday party for our friend that is Duchesse themed.
Whoa, this was not our idea. This was not our idea.
It was their idea. Hi, Alex.
I don't want to say
we're
not stealing the idea. We just are encouraging that should be.
We think it's great. We really wanted to do it. She wanted to do it this year for her birthday, and it didn't happen. But maybe one day we'll have the Duchesse themed party of our dreams.
Anyone I tell about that is on board. They're like,
everyone's like,
why isn't this party happening?
Right,
and I'm like, don't know.
We need to make it happen at some point. We do. So this section is Flanders sour ales. So David puts the Flanders red ale and Oud Bruin together. But obviously Duchesse and Rodenbach are ones that are very prominent. So I thought this was interesting. So he says, if I could only keep 5 beer styles to pair with chocolate, this group of beers would be one of them. The acidity, fermentation complexity, subtle fruitiness, and bread dark sugar notes allow these beers to pair flexibly with a wide range of chocolates and pair truly beautifully with quite a few of them. The challenge is predicting pairing success with this style requires prior tasting of each beer, because it's a Belgian beer and Belgian brewers will do as they please. So though it's all a Flanders red, everyone's Flanders red is slightly different. So you kind of need to know the characteristics of the particular one that you're picking before you start deciding what chocolates are going to go with it. So look for dark single origin bars below or around 75%. They can feature dried fruit inclusions. Look for dried stone fruits, cherries, or berries. Or, I thought was really interesting, candied orange or orange oil for a fun, old-fashioned cherry-orange combo. Avoid high percentage dark chocolates or those with high bitterness or acidity, as well as most coffee, herbal, or spice inclusions. So, on that note, I've got some chocolate and orange pots, which is orange and notes of dulce de leche in a cacao-rich ganache. Ooh. But it's made with 50% milk chocolate. Or I've got triple cherry pots, which have got cherry compote, creamy ganache, and a cherry white cap. So we'll see how they pair together.
Well, I had this was the most nightmare one for me because it was like, do you want dried fruits and this, or do you want chocolate orange? And I was like, I don't want any of those things. No. But I did get an orange and geranium bar, which I thought that would sound really interesting.
Yeah, when you told me, you were like, what about a geranium one? I was like, yes.
I specifically looked for like a chocolate that was like a geranium chocolate, like not a geranium, I specifically for like orange oil.
Yeah.
And then like that happened to be one that was with the orange oil, and I was like, well, that seems really good.
Yeah.
Can't find it now, so I'm not sure if it just didn't arrive.
Did Tesco's not deliver it?
I don't think they did.
Boo Tesco's.
No, boo Tesco's. This is why we just go to the store and pick things up.
Right.
What was the percentage you said for the single origin?
Single origin 75% or below. Yeah.
Okay, so the 70% cocoa I got from Lidl actually will come in handy. All right, let me go with that one.
So I've got those too, but I might also try a bit of the raspberry with it as well.
I might just try some of the other ones I have to finish the other ones that I have, just to see what works well.
Yeah. Don't do the coffee one though. You got a coffee one?
I do have a coffee one, but I was not even going to attempt to do that. I was like,
not to do the coffee one. It says.
I got a really nice like chocolate bar that I got in Zwolle. That was a dark chocolate, and that seems really like I got some really nice chocolate bars in the Netherlands. But I'm like, I cannot open all of these really nice chocolate bars at once. Whereas like I don't mind opening a Lidl special that cost me like, I don't know, £2 or something like that, and then being like, oh, it's been open for too long, gotta go. I really didn't want to fancy open up like a really nice posh one. So see how we get on.
Well, interestingly, there is a section at the back where it talks about how to host a pairing, and it suggests that you have a group of between 6 and 12 people, so you can try lots of different beers and lots of different chocolates. And there's also a page which I really liked, which was there's 5 versatile beer styles that you should have in your fridge at all times, just to try with all chocolates that you have in your house, so that when you like want to do an impromptu try, one of these styles might well go with it. And it's an English barley wine, a Flanders sour ale, a hazy IPA, a Belgian dark strong, a Baltic porter, or a milk stout, or an oatmeal stout, or an American porter. So something slightly darker. So I thought that was fun to have those on hand if you want to regularly try chocolates against beers. And this that we are going to try next is one of them. Oh, do you know, I just love this beer. This is such an indulgent episode.
It really, really is. I told you I have the chocolate sweats. It's too much. I feel too indulged. I wonder, what do you think's better? So having that many people to host the more amount of beers and chocolates together, I would actually argue, I think I would prefer having less styles of beer and more different types of beer. Like maybe pick, like, you have a few people around, you pick a few chocolate bars that could be quite versatile, and then maybe do like big sharing bottles. Like maybe everyone brings a sharing bottle and a chocolate to go with it, or something like that. And then you see like how you can mix and match those chocolates with each other's beers. So maybe that could be quite fun. It's doing something like that.
I like that idea.
Because I think when you have too much chocolate and too much beer, it then just becomes a mission.
6 to 12 people felt like a lot to me. Like, that feels like a lot of people to manage, but maybe that's just me. But then also, I don't want that many people.
When you look at how many how many squares are in some of these chocolate bars, though, like, I can see how it would make sense. But yeah, there's a lot of people.
If you're not sure how to host a beer tasting party, not to take away from David or anything, but I do have a kit for that. I have a printables kit, so you could buy the book and the book from David and the printables kit from me, and have a grand old time.
shameless plug there.
Shameless plug there.
I don't think I know 12 people well enough to host a pairing. I don't think I can get your kit, because I think that I would be like,
mine's only for
12 people, please.
4 to 6. Mine's only 4 to 6 people.
I can just about squeeze out 4 to 6 people. I think I'm just not.
We're not as popular as David. We don't have as many friends as he does.
I definitely don't.
Oh God, I love this beer.
Me too.
So good. So if you've not had Duchesse, it's the Flanders red. There is like a lovely kind of dried cherry and acidity, like a little bit of like balsamic vinegar. Oh.
Which I feel like when you say that to someone that's not into like that style of it, they're probably like, you are mental. Like, what? Why are you finding enjoyment of like the taste of like you're drinking a balsamic beer? Like,
yes, please.
That's why it goes so good with cheese. That's why I get the balsamic reduction that goes on like cheese. Can't get enough of it.
So good, so good.
I can see exactly how this pairs really well with a dark chocolate, though.
Yeah, because like those dark single origin chocolates have that like little bit of dried fruitness about them, like without having actual fruit in them. The cacao itself has like a really good coffee. It's got a bit of a berryness to it. It's got a bit of a roastiness to it. Yeah. Sometimes a bit of acidity.
Sometimes some balsamic.
I'm going to start with my chocolate orange pots.
I'm going to have my Madagascan. My one choice. What's nice?
Chocolate orange. Like, chocolate orange is not my favourite, so we're going to see. Oh, that is very pretty, yeah.
Chocolate orange, chocolate orange is my favourite. But I was going to do it for the podcast. Hear the snap. There's actually a surprisingly pleasing snap in this. I'm not going to lie. Smells like dark chocolate. It does work, but I can't say I love it. I think I still prefer cheese as the pairing for this.
Mine really works.
Maybe if the orange had committed, I would have. Maybe if I'd got the orange, I'd feel differently.
This isn't hugely orange. Like, it's quite subtle, the orange, because actually the filling has got a bit of orangey oilness to it, but it's a bit of a bit more caramelly.
Yeah.
And then there's the milk chocolate. So when you have the Duchesse with it, it brings out the cherry flavours, like the dried cherry.
Okay.
With the orange. And then there's like almost an earthiness. And it kind of knocks back the acidity a little bit. And it does taste like an old-fashioned.
That sounds really nice. It was like...
It is tasty.
The single origin dark chocolate with this, it is, I think, too rich. It's too rich and it's too indulgent. I just don't think I could, like, do the whole thing using it. I kind of want to try the raspberry with it and see if that, or like some of the other dark chocolates. I think this is really nice dark chocolate if you like dark chocolate. And it's more expensive than some of the other like chocolates, like the knockoff chocolates or whatever in Lidl, but it's not massively expensive and I think it's very good quality for what it is. And especially the fact that it's come out of Lidl, like, it's great. It's a lot. I didn't even notice there was a pattern of the cocoa bean on the other side.
Oh, yeah.
This is the thing, it's like, we're going to take a moment to appreciate how it looks and all this stuff.
We did not.
I didn't at all. It's the chocolate sweats. They're getting to me and I just don't have time to look at all this. But there was a lovely design on it. The lint one has nice little lines on it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So when I said there was an earthiness created by this chocolate and the Duchesse, when you do it a couple more times, it actually almost comes across like woodiness, like you would get from whiskey.
Interesting.
And that's why you're getting that old-fashioned flavour. Oh, I'm gonna go. Well, I'm trying the triple cherry with it now.
I went back for more chocolate, just like the dark chocolate, just in case. Third time's a charm. It gets more. It's similar with the normal dark chocolate. With like over time, it's a little bit more subdued, but it's not too rich. But I still think it's just richer than I generally like. I'm gonna have it with the fruit now.
The cherry one's okay.
Do you think it's too much of a like cherry?
It might be too much cherry. It kind of goes a bit cherry and sherbety, almost like you know when you get the sour cherry sweets, but they've got the sugar on the outside.
Yeah,
almost like that, like a sour cherry sweet.
I thought the raspberry.
Which is okay.
I thought the raspberry was going to be too much. That it would clash. I really enjoy it. I think it's really nice. It like lightens up the Duchesse.
Okay.
I really quite enjoy. I'm surprised how much I enjoyed that one.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to pour a bit more.
I don't have too much left because I just dumped half the bottle on my desk. But
yeah, the Duchesse with the triple cherry tastes like sour cherry sweets. Nice. Right, let's try a bit of me raspberry bar with it.
I want to know what you think of the raspberry bar.
Yeah. All right, bear with me.
I might try my maple one. My maple dark chocolate, which has failed with all the others. Surprisingly good, right?
It knocks back the acidity and it makes it kind of floral. In a really lovely way.
It just lightens it, I think, in a way. It makes it less. I feel like when I'm having it with like the normal dark chocolate, it's just so rich and so just too much. Like it's too luxurious, too much. Whereas like with the raspberry dark chocolate, I think it takes away some of that richness.
Yeah. Ooh. I do want to try a little bit of I've got a bit of my cherry one left. I want to try it with the pumpkin.
Ooh. Try my salted caramel maple dark chocolate with Duchesse. Surprisingly not that bad.
This kind of tastes like marzipan and potpourri.
Oh no.
No. It's okay. It like for people that like those kind of flavours, marzipan-y, flory, maybe, but that was not for me. No. Kind of tastes like Play-Doh.
Oh no, that's not good. Nobody wants that. I kind of want to have the chocolate with the coffee one with the Duchesse just because I want to know how bad it is.
I mean, you do you.
I think I'm going to do it. But I don't think I can handle any more chocolate after this. I feel sick. Even more chocolate than I ever normally eat in one sitting. And it's a lot.
And beer.
It's not.
Face.
Well, I went into it no, it's actually not that. It's not terrible. No. It like I wouldn't be like it tastes like decaying leaves on a an autumnal day.
Really bad.
Did they pair harmoniously? No. Was it interesting? Yeah. I mean, was it not interesting? But I think anything paired with Duchesse is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I went into it with like how you were like, oh, good luck. Like, oh, yeah. Thinking it was going to be like, I would prefer that taste combination over chocolate orange.
Oh, really?
You're like, if you give me a Terry's chocolate orange, you're like, oh, you got to eat those two things together. I'd rather have those two things together. My stomach hates me though now. I'm so done. Of the chocolate sweats, My desk is fucked now. I've got a 4.0 fucked error on my desk. It is honestly,
okay.
it's bad, and I'm full. I don't know how people do that. How could someone write a book about this? This is like, I have more respect now for this book, because I just think, oh my god, it is great. It's great, but it's also, oh my god, you'd think it would be such a good job, wouldn't you? You'd be like, doing that research must be amazing. I want to ask the question of like,
you got to do it over time.
Yeah, how? I'm roasting.
It's a warm day as well. Maybe doing it in cooler temperatures would be better.
Yeah. I don't know. It was good though. It was fun, and I feel like it's made me want to play around with more flavors. Like try more things together. It's made me want to buy the book. It's made me want to like kind of see what I can do. It's made me want to do like creative things, like, try to get some pick and mix. Like go to a pick and mix and see what matches well. Like obviously not just chocolate, but like in terms of sweets, like go to a pick and mix and see what matches with things. Or like Halloween, using that book, like how would we go back and pair some of the Halloween chocolates, having seen what the tips are in this book, for example, like with those pairings and stuff. But yeah, what's your favorite pairing so far today? I think
I think the espresso martini, the salted espresso martini ones with the Pilgrim were really good. The chocolate orange pot with the Duchesse was superb. The raspberry bar with the Omnipollo was also excellent. I think the chocolate orange pot with Duchesse was far exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, when I first read that as a suggestion, I went to go buy that. And I was like, I really don't like chocolate orange, but I'll give it a go, which didn't get it in the end, but fine. But when I first saw that, I thought, oh, is it going to actually taste like that? Or is it just going to be something that's like in my head? So it's nice to know that actually that lived up to the hype.
Yeah, it did. Lived up to the
raspberry,
hype.
Dark chocolate and raspberry, I feel like paired so well with the Bianca and with the Duchesse. So
yeah. I feel like I took a bit of a punt on that. I think like I went with my gut and was like, I think raspberry is going to go really well with this pineapple. And I'm really glad I did, because that went really well together, and it went really nicely with the Duchesse as well.
You just said, you know what, I'm getting this one. I think it will go nice, and I was like, sure, I'll get that as well.
It's my beer pairing skills there.
No, that was nice, but I mean, I do love a bit of Duchesse, like regardless. I think the most surprising one for me was the raspberry and the Duchesse, because I expected those to clash massively, and they didn't, and it was really, really nice.
Yeah, I didn't think that one would work. I think I was like, it's probably, but maybe like they'd probably dull each other and it wouldn't work. But yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm. This was fun. I feel like I've opened way too many chocolate bars in one go, with more that I haven't even opened. So that's fun though, because that's another chocolate pairing for another day.
Yeah.
And I am so full, and I admire and respect him for having done all these. So yeah, no, that's my 2p. So
all right,
there you have it. Go try your own.
Right, I'll put in the show notes where you can get the book.
What was the name of the book again?
It is Pairing Beer and Chocolate, a guide to bring the flavours of craft beer and craft chocolate together, by David Nilsen. David did also send us a link to where you could get some of the chocolate bars that are mentioned in the book, which is cocorunners.com. So I'll put that in the show notes. I'll put a link to being a Barstool in there, so you can go see his stuff there. I'll find the Amazon link for the book if you want to go buy the book. I'll put our previous beer and chocolate and beer and candy pairing episodes in the show notes, and I'll sneak in my beer and chocolate pairing kit as well in case you want that.
You gotta do it.
Got all the links in this one. But Tori, if people would like to suggest other chocolates that they could pair with things, or if they found fancy chocolate somewhere and where we could get it, where can they get hold of you?
Yeah. Tell me your favorite, like, again, not that I'm saying we always advocate for supermarkets, but like, tell me your favorite like supermarket, your poshest supermarket chocolates, or maybe your favorite accessible beer and chocolate pairing. Like, if you were going to pair two things from a supermarket and you think you have the most top tier pairing, let us know. You can email both of us, or you can DM both of us on Instagram at a woman's brew, comment on this link with it. We'll see it. Or you can email us links to any posh chocolate shops at a woman's brew podcast at gmail.com. I personally would love to see, you know, the most bizarre things that you pair together. Or if you just want to weigh in on if chocolate sweats are a thing, you can message me on Instagram at adventures_in_hoptimism, or you can email me at adventuresinoptimism@gmail.com. Joe, if people want to know more about your beer and chocolate pairing, where can they come find you?
So you can find me. I am Love Beer Learning. You'll find me on Instagram. You might find me on Facebook. I am other places, but I probably won't visit there. So Instagram, definitely. Facebook, maybe. Or there is definitely food and beer pairing stuff on my website, which is lovebeerlearning.co.uk. Or you can email me, lovebeerlearning@gmail.com, if you've got questions about beer tasting, about beer and chocolate pairing, about beer and food pairing. I might be able to answer it. Can't guarantee it, but I'll give it a good go.
Well, they have it. Let's go finish the rest of our Duchesse and not finish the rest of this chocolate.
Not finish the chocolates because you got the chocolate sweats.
It's too much.
Cheers.
Cheers.